Okay, let's start with some shoulder opening. We're just going to do some seated shoulder rolls, lifting shoulder blade and that tennis ball part of the shoulder up, back, and down about 6 times. And then let's do 6 going the opposite direction. 3 and 4, 5, 6. And then our good morning wrist stretch. If you interlace the fingers, like when you first get out of bed in the morning and you're stretching to start opening up the wrist. And let's add a little rotation. Reach through the wrist. Let your head turn. Let your head turn a little further than your arms are going. Look over that back shoulder. And one more each way. And then into arm circles, crossing the arms up to the forehead, around to the other side, across the chest. And for 2. And for 3. And for 4. And let's reverse the direction. Up to the forehead and around for 1. And 2. 3, and 1 more for 4. And then hands together, straight arms, wrist fingertips even, pendulum, side to side. Keep letting your head turn. And the next time that we go to the right, we're going to bend the wrist, aim the fingers to the right, and then flip them around. And switch them back and forth for snake charmer. Flexion, extension on the wrists. All that thoracic, breastbone, rib cage rotation. 1 more each way. And rest. Okay, wrist stretches. Left arm forward, and we want to get that thumb right at the end of the arm bone under the wrist, the index finger on the other side. So we're bending the wrist and then pulling it back. Stretch through the bicep. Reach through that Spider-Man web spot of shooting the web out. Drop your shoulder. Hold. Breathe. And then switch. Thumb on one side of the wrist, finger on the other. Bend it back. Spread, reach through that Spider-Man spot. Reach through the elbow. Stretch the bicep. Bend the wrist backwards, not just the fingers. Drop the shoulder. Breathe. And release. Jazzy prayer hands. Elbows out to the side. Flatten and spread the mitten part of the hand. Shoulders back. Tipping the wrist back and forth without cupping the palm. Shoulders drawing back. And then let's add a little rotation to the right. And same twisting. Feel that just open up that left shoulder blade, give you a little more rotation. Feels like a big stretch under that right shoulder blade. Back to center, to the left, same twisting. And feel that open up that left shoulder blade, give you a little stretch and a little more twist. And back to center. And then we have our finger ballet, index finger down, pinky side spinning as you pivot around that index finger. Thumb side leading to pivot back around. Back and forth. And I just caught my shoulder going up, so I'm just going to put my hand up there as a little reminder. Loosening up that full range of motion of the wrist and integrating it with the shoulder. And then let's switch to the left side. Pinky finger coming around, and then thumb leading. And I'm just going to put my hand on top of that shoulder as a gentle reminder. And let's do one more each way. And release. Let's move on to the neck. So we're going to bring our hands behind, open up the chest, looking at the tip of the nose. Draw small circles like you're outlining a quarter that is floating in space in front of you, or a large coin of your choice if we're not dealing with American currency. And reverse the circle. It's really hard to keep your focus on the tip of your nose. One more time around. Reverse and now make the circle bigger like you're going around a donut that's floating in front of your face. One more time around. And then go the other way around the donut. And let's do one more time around. And release the hands. Take the index finger, base of the skull, very top of the neck. There's that little squishy spot that your fingers can kind of indent into. Very small movement to tip the back of your skull over your fingers, feeling the fingers sink into that indent. And then tipping the back of the skull forward so the muscles kind of fill out that indent. Back and forth. Just a little upper neck, upper cervical flexion extension. And one more each way. And release. And now we want that breath to come through the back of the throat, filling in that little balloon behind the Adam's apple. And then letting that breath come down and fill in a little balloon in the center of the breastbone. And then filling those two balloons and letting that come into the diaphragm. Think of that diaphragm more like the size of a soccer ball. And then think of filling in all three. Once again. And let's move on to upper back posture. I'm going to slide the chair out a little bit. Scooting a little bit forward. Holding onto the edges of the chair. Hinging forward with a flat upper back. Try not to let the head collapse. Fill in that breath behind the Adam's apple. And then upright. Hinging for 2. Filling in that breath. And upright. And for 3. And upright. One more time for 4. And upright. Let's do some seated back extension with rotation. Both arms up, holding your martini trays. Right hand comes down a little behind the right hip. Look up at the left hand. Push the right hand into the chair. Reach up through that left hand. And then that right hand comes back up. Left hand down, a little bit behind the left hip. Look up at the right hand. Push down in the chair. Reach up to the ceiling. And back up. Switch. The hand on the chair is pushing. The hand in the air is reaching. Take a moment. Get that breath behind the Adam's apple. Connect it to that breastbone. Connect it to that diaphragm. It just helps correct your head position. And back up. And switch. Push in each direction. Fill in that breath. And let's do one more each side. And last one. And down. And now seated side stretch. Right hand holding the chair. Left arm is up. This time we're bending the right elbow. Looking up. little side bend towards the right, and back up. Switch, left hand under the chair, bend the left elbow, look up at the right, little side bend to the left, and back up. Right hand down, left arm up, bend that right elbow. Take a moment, fill in that breath. That just got my head to draw back a little bit and my shoulders to open a little more. And again, yes, I know, mister. He's excited about the postural changes also. One more each way. And last one. And back up. And now a little full seated back extension. Both arms up. Palms extended. Tip the head a little bit backwards. Show the heart to the ceiling. Fill in the breath behind the Adam's apple, behind the breastbone, into the diaphragm. And upright. And repeat. Arms up, extend the wrist, tipping the head a little bit back. Lift the heart, fill in the breath. Those 3 balloons all filling and connecting. And one more time. And release. Now we're ready for a little more hip work. Knee pressures, hands outside of the knees. Hinging a little forward. Try to press the knees open, bend the elbows, resist. You'll feel the muscles on the side of the hips activate. And then go to the inner thigh, trying to squeeze in while the arms try to pull apart, and you'll feel the inner thighs coming into the hip socket, into the zipper groin activate. And switch, outer thigh, pressing and resisting. Inner thigh, squeezing and resisting. Outer thigh, pressing and resisting. Check that breath. Yeah, every time I do that, my shoulders and my neck change. And inner thigh. And one more each way. And last one. Now staying forward. Hook under the chair, lean a little bit. Get your feet under you so there's some weight of your feet into the floor. Lift the heels, push through the ball of the toes. Drop the heels, lift the toes, push through the heels. And switch. Tippy toe, driving through the floor. Lift the toes, heels through the floor. Tippy toe, driving through the floor. Heels through the floor. One more each way. And now we'll do hip hinge into standing, lifting the back pockets off the chair. Hinge, set the back pockets down. Hinging forward, lift. Hinging back and sit. And for 3, and back. And for 4, and back. I'm going to make you do a little bit more. 5, and back. 6, and back. 7, and back. We'll go to 8, and 8, and back. I lied, we're going to do 9 because I want to stay standing up. So now you can take your feet a little bit wider apart and draw your hula hoop around. And 6, and 7. We'll go to 8, and reverse your hula hoop for 8. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then finishing with a little whirling dervish. When you're going to the right, lift your left heel. When you're going to the left, lift your right heel. Look over your shoulder to the wall behind you. let's do one more each way. And back to work.